It's great to see you again. First off, there's so much to unpack from Monday night's game. It was a
Yeah.
win. Yeah, road win. That's great. They
Mhm.
came away with a victory, a must-have victory. Let me start with this here, and I want to get your take on this. I'll chime in on it too, but what do you take away from the sight of Mac Jones waving off Matt Patricia there in the second half? They were hugging and smiling and everything after the game, and Patricia, I guess, talked Monday morning about how, look, it's or Tuesday morning, I'm sorry, talked about how it's great. He said, look, I have no problem with Mac doing what he did. Where do you stand on that?
I don't have no problem with him doing what he did either. I think that there's a respect level between the two that is pretty mutual. Um, so you can't take it personal. Maddie can't take it personal. You're in the heat of battle. Emotions are high, adrenaline pumping. You're trying to get in. It's a game that you must have. You got to win this game. Um, you can't look too much into that. I don't think you can look too much into that because, I mean, again, like you said, they were hugging and laughing and smiling at the end of the game. So it was all good. You know what I'm saying? But, as a quarterback, I mean, as a younger quarterback, some things that get called, or there's some plays that get called that you're not comfortable with in certain situations, or you might have not ran the play in 2 weeks. You don't know what the case may be. But Mac is obviously getting a little bit more respect as he goes along and plays, at a high level in New England. He's getting a little bit more respect and a little bit more respect as he goes on. I don't know how many rookie guys are going to be able to do that. So he played really well last year as a rookie. He got to the Pro Bowl and stuff. So he kind of knows his stuff right now. So I don't look too far into it because I don't think that is a huge deal. They won the game. Him and Matty P was laughing and smiling afterwards, and it was all good.
As a player, do you like to see that?
It depends. It depends. Like, do I like to see the coaches and players laughing, or do I like to see a guy kind of take control?
Well, kind of seeing a guy take control, like what we saw earlier this month against the Bills, where he, Mac, got angry on the sidelines, and then in this game, he kind of, like you said, kind of appeared to blow off Matty P a little bit. The idea of a young quarterback, I like it. I do. I like this is for me. This represents for me. I think if I'm a Patriots fan, this is another sign that Mac is taking ownership of the offense. He is taking a more vocal role, even though probably part of it is performative. I think at the same time, it's a good sign that this is a guy who is fully invested in wanting to see his team win, and he's growing. He's getting older, and he's getting more of an idea. This is him wanting to assert himself with his teammates, with the coaching staff, within the context of this offense.
100%. I think I think that him being able to take control, have his input, see different things that obviously you can't see from the sideline, looking at the game from the side of the game. You can't see, they do have headsets from people up top that tell them, hey man, you got 6 DBs, you got nickel personnel, you got dime personnel, you got base. But Max sees, he out there and he's in the heat of battle and he's in the fire, so he sees these things more clearly than anybody else does in the freaking booth, on the sideline, or whatever. So him being able to take up ownership and being able to just grasp the cusp of the offense and take control of it, kind of let Matty P knows what he likes, what he likes and what he don't like about the offense. I think that's a conversation that they need to have. I don't know if they've had that conversation, but it has to be readdressed again, because obviously Matty is calling some things that Mac don't like, and the way he's calling the offense, Mac probably is not a big fan of. But do understand, I know I've said this multiple times, Matty is an offensive coordinator for the first time in his career. He's going to call the plays like a defensive guy would call the plays. Mm-hmm. A defensive guy goes into the game expecting a team that can run the ball really well and a team that can run the ball efficiently and solidly. A defensive guy is going to go in there and call plays to run the football, the first and second down. For me, it's predictable. That's what I'm gonna say. I just seen the Chargers come out of the gate against, who did they play?
Miami.
I just seen the Chargers come out of the gate against Miami, and a run in a run football look, in a run the ball look, run, whatever. Hit them with a hard play action. That's where as a coordinator you grow. Okay, well, I have tendencies that I run the ball on first down of the first play of the game, yada yada yada. Well, that's when you get in your coaching bag. Okay, well, should I do this every time? Maybe I need to run a fake off of this. Maybe I need to do a play action off of this the first play. Maybe, or whatever it may be. I'm not telling them what to do, but I'm just saying that that's the next step you take into being an offensive coordinator. Now you run plays that set up other plays. Now you run plays that defense have seen this look in these formations and this play this many times. You hit a play action. That things like that is what makes you grow as an offensive coordinator. I love Matty P, but I don't see that growth.
I want your prediction here. Is Matty P the offensive play caller for this team in 2023?
Matty P is not the offensive play caller for that team in 2023. But he will be a part of that staff, and maybe is in his old role as D coordinator.
This feels like the first conversation. This feels like the first conversation we have in the series of conversations that ends with him, bringing back Bill O'Brien, finding a way to get Josh McDaniels back in there, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I agree with you too, and I think this is interesting.
Or Eric Bieniemy. I'm not saying that Mac is Pat, but I'm just saying that he's a extremely smart, intelligent offensive mind, one of the best in the game. He's innovative. He does a lot of different things. So you go get some of these guys, or go get one of those young guys, the Zach Taylors, and obviously he's a head coach, but you understand what I'm saying. These younger guys that are 32, 33, 34 years old and changing the game of football offensively as we see it.
How about this? You bring in Brian Hoyer
as OC,
as your OC next year.
Negative.
Is that crazy? That's crazy. That's a little crazy, isn't it? That's a little crazy for Bill.
Hoyer hasn't had. He's been successful in spurts, but he hasn't had the kind of success that I would want to put the offense in his game. But I like, Hoyer has had flashes. I know what you know what I mean by flashes. Maybe he had 300 yards passing this game, 100 this game, and 6 picks. So we don't need
more of a growth role. Yeah, I could see him. Maybe as the quarterback coach or something next year, and then growing into that role as offensive coordinator down the road. I have a theory about Monday nights kinds of games with Bill. Those sorts of wins, I think Bill loves those sorts of wins because look, you win and it's great. This is a bottom line league, wins, losses, but there was enough messy stuff on the field, penalties, lack of execution, that he has more than enough to talk about and more than enough to humble a young team with when it comes to the film session. Am I right here?
100% right. And this, you got to talk about what's your next steps when it comes to getting Ramondre healthy. Is he going to be healthy? Mm-hmm. You got to figure out your next steps for getting Devontae Parker back. Is he going to be healthy? He was, he was concussed. Whether anyone wants to believe it or say it or not, he was not good. And the fact that they were going to let him run another play was scary. This has to be taken extremely seriously. And how many injuries did we have? We had Ramondre get hurt. We had Devontae get hurt.
Jack Jones.
We had Mac Jones get hurt. We had. It's a lot of guys that went down. So you gotta make sure that you have everybody back and healthy before anything. Or you go find you some free agents and and rock out.
You go get T.Y. Hilton, like the Cowboys did, right?
Yeah, you go get T.Y., man. T.Y. is a veteran, savvy veteran. He don't have to be blazing fast anymore. He knows the game and he knows what his role is probably going to be on that team. Go get those veteran guys that know what they need to do and they can still got a little juice left in the tank. They don't have to be the featured person, but they can teach, they can show, they can mentor, And we're not winning any Super Bowls this year. Let's be honest. So just obviously playoffs. We would love that, but go start thinking about next year and figuring out what we need to do to put ourselves in the best position to be competitive next year as well.
Good to see those young backs come through Monday night, though. Harrison Strong. What'd you think of their performance?
Really well. Man, there's a lot of Harrisons over there. But man, there's really strong, man. They took up the slack. Harris went in there and scored him a touchdown. He had a nice game. These guys picked up the slack. And then on top of that, I know that the Marcus Jones kid is starting to be a little bit more involved in the offense. He's a big time playmaker. He's really, really nice with the ball in his hands. So they're getting it done, man. It's not looking as pretty as we're used to it looking, but they're getting it done, man. And obviously, this is a New England team that is going through the motions, going through the woes and the ups and downs of losing important players and important pieces in the building in general, not just players. But I mean, you lost Ernie, you lost a lot of guys in that building that contributed to the success of the Patriots freaking dynasties over and over again. So Bill is kind of building that back from scratch. You're getting old coaches back from head coaching jobs. And, so this is kind of a freaking Chinese fire drill, if you would say, to get this show on the road and have them functional before the season started.
I'm glad you bring up Marcus Jones. I was trying to think if the Patriots ever had a guy like Marcus Jones before, someone who can contribute on offense, defense, and special teams. He had guys who could do two of those three. His running style reminds me a little bit of your buddy Dion Lewis, but I'm trying to think of a guy who has been able to contribute in all three phases of the game. Can you think of a guy, maybe not
Troy?
even just the Patriots, but just in all three phases?
Troy?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and Jules did it for a while too. That's right. That's fair.
Yep. Played corner, played corner, wide receiver, and obviously punt return.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, Troy and Jules, those are the only two guys I can think of, and Jules the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
He's durable. I mean, shit, he don't get hurt a lot. He does get hurt, nicks and bruises, but man, he's tough as nails.
Mm-hmm.
He's tough as nails. He's durable. He's not going to ever tell you no. He's going to go out there. If you tell him to go out there and run through a brick wall, Jules going to go out there and run through a brick wall. He loves the game. He loves his teammates. So, I mean, Jules is probably the ultimate Swiss Army knife when it comes to New England. I mean, he ain't no Deion Sanders, but,
I can only imagine the ceiling that Marcus Jones has, though, in New England, that we didn't see Jules do that when he was a rookie. We didn't see Troy do all that when he was a rookie. I can just imagine Bill sitting there watching film and just coming up with untold ways to utilize his skill set. For me, he is look, if that Marcus Jones for me right now is the best story on this team because of what he's been able to do, the way he's been able to contribute. And you can sit there and think, wow, I wonder what this guy's going to be capable of, 2, 3, 4 years down the road if he stays healthy.
Yeah, again, he's one of those Cordell Patterson type guys. He's a jack of all trades. He can return the ball. He can catch it. He can run it. He can obviously play defense. He's a really good football player. You don't get a lot of guys that can do all of it. And he's probably not the best at any, but he can stand in the paint with a lot of people in the NFL at all of them. So he's a special kid. New England don't get a lot of those that don't become, special in that organization, just like Troy became special. Jules became special, because they contributed to all, phases of the game at some point or another in their career with the New England Patriots. Looks like he's heading on that, kind of headed on that boat and on that train. He might be one of those guys that New England don't get rid of for a really long time. He might be another Slater, he might be one of those guys that'll be around for a while. I mean, I can see Bill singing his praises and, finding different ways to make sure he's a part of the game plan, whether it's offensively, defensively, or special teams wise. He's going to be out there on the football field because he's a playmaker. And he's fast, he's really fast. So I would not oppose to Bill keeping that kid around for a long time because he's fun to watch.
All right. At the start of the year, you said, and I think I agreed with you, 10 wins in the playoffs for this Patriots team. They're 7-6 now. They got 4 games left. Raiders, Bengals, Dolphins, and Bills. I'm assuming that you think, like I do, they're going to beat the Raiders. So that's
Yes.
8-6.
Yes.
Give me a scenario where they get to 10 wins with that schedule.
A scenario that can get them to 10 wins with that schedule. The Dolphins. I know they're a really good football team. They're a really good football team. But New England is going to have their number. Coming down this long stretch and every game is pretty much counting towards them making the playoffs. You're going to see a different side of them eventually. You saw a different side of them. I mean, they scored 27 points. Granted, like I said, we both said it wasn't a beautiful game, right? We had penalties. We had all this, all these little minor details of what we call shooting ourselves in the foot. We did those, and we came out on top. Granted, this team wasn't at full strength, right? Whether you want to call that, whatever you can call it, they went out there and they got the dub, and they got it decisively. So that's a man. They're a solid team. I think they're hitting. They're coming as close as they can possibly get to playing at their full potential, whatever that looks like. We lost Dev. I don't know if he's going to be back. I don't know if it's a shoulder or a concussion. I seen Dietrich kind of like when he made the tackle, I seen Dietrich kind of hit him in the top of the head, so I don't know what that looks like. Obviously not having him is going to be detrimental. And not having Ramondre is going to be huge, unless Damian comes back. I know he has a hamstring, right?
I think it was a thigh,
right? Quad.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's back and healthy. I mean, they're going to have to call James. They're going to have to call James White, man. Bring my dog out of retirement. He ain't been gone that long.
So we can sit here and go, all right, win loss. They'll beat the Raiders.
Yep.
They have the Bengals at home.
The Bengals is iffy.
The Bengals are iffy. Yeah.
If Joe Mixon don't play, I don't know, man. I don't know. I like P-Ron, but P-Ron ain't enough. P-Ron he ain't enough. Chase, Higgins. I mean, they got some guys, man. Let's not beat around the bush. And they're defending AFC champions, so they got some guys. But do I think we can beat them? Hell yeah, I think we can.
It's at home too. That's the other thing that I think gives you a shot. Yeah,
that's at home. So that you got the Raiders, you got the Bengals, you got Miami
at home. Miami
right
in
now.
New England in January or December or January. And then I have one other thought about the Bills. The Bills game in Buffalo, I think is going to be a challenge. Obviously, look, it's the Bills. They're a wagon. At the same time, if the Bills have their playoff seeding all set, good, like mines, right? Like we're thinking the same way here.
Stephon,
sit
Josh Allen. Yeah, sit. I don't know if you sit Gabe Davis, but I would. You sit in those guys. You sit in Jordan Poyer, who's already dealing with a list of injuries this year. You're sitting Edmonds. Man, you're sitting these guys. I've seen Bill do it. It's the smartest thing to do if your team has a bye week or if they need to get healthy. It's the smartest thing to do. And I talked about this another time too. And I said, again, if they sit all these guys, you don't think it and it don't seem like it. But if they sit enough of these guys, New England will mess around and go out there and beat the shit out of these guys. I know that they're the Bills and their record and Josh Allen and this, that, and the other. But if a handful of those guys don't play, you're looking at New England messing around and possibly winning 11 games.
The one question I have when you look at that, though, the Bills' schedule the rest of the way is relatively tough. The Chiefs, who are chasing them, their schedule over the last 4 games is incredibly easy. So the Chiefs are going to be able to kind of keep some heat on them a little. But if everything is sealed, look, if everything is locked in going into that regular season finale, I'm with you. I think there's a chance that Buffalo rests their starters, and that opens the door for a potential Patriots victory. Let's skip ahead this week. I think I know who you're going to pick, but give me your predictions. Patriots-Raiders, Sunday at 4, live from Las Vegas.
I got Patriots winning by 14.
Okay. Are we going to see Ramondre? Are we going to see Damian Harris? Are we going to see the kids again? What is that backfield going to look like?
I think you put a heavy spat tape on Ramondre's ankle because that's what it looked like it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think you nurse that thing up and put a heavy spat tape on it. He has to understand that you have to be there for us now. Like, I understand the ankle was hurt, but how hurt is it? You know, hurt enough to miss a game, a very important game, or you know, can you thug it out? Can you go out there and give us what we need? You know, with us taking care of you as much as we can. You know, maybe Damian, we need you this week. We're probably not going to give you 25 carries, but Ramondre can't get 25 either. You know, so we got to figure that part of it out, man. That's iffy. I personally think that Ramondre is going to fight through that shit. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to, you know, take the ankle up, shoot it, whatever he's going to have to do to play that game, put the spat on it and rock out. I couldn't tell you how many times I've had a freaking sprained ankle, AC joint, knee or something that had me like, damn, bro, I don't know if I can go out there and look like LG. And then I go out there and look like LG.
The adrenaline kicks in, you feel good. Yeah.
You feel good. You might get one carry that's 10 yards. Okay, fuck that knee. You know, that ankle or whatever. Fuck that. I feel good now. It's go time. So I know it sounds like a superhuman ability, but that happens, bro. It really happens. That is real. You can go out there and play with an injury and get hit a couple times and have one or two good plays, and next thing you know is, man, I can rock out this game without, you know what I'm saying? I could deal with the little pain, you know, that it happens sometimes. So I do think we're going to have Ramondre. I do think that they know now, seeing Ramondre go down and having to go to the Harris kid, which he played his tail off, Damian has to be ready. From now on, you have to suit him up. You have to. And that thigh or whatever it is, you have to wrap it, whatever, and he got to go. He has to. Now it's crunch time, and any and all hands that can be on deck has to be on deck.
I feel a lot more optimistic about the Patriots' playoff chances now than when we first started this podcast, you know, a half an hour or so ago. You've talked me into the idea of 11 wins here, and who knows after that? Like you said, you never know, because, look, you get into the playoffs, this team is probably not going to win a Super Bowl. I think they were 100-1 today in Vegas. They had them at 100-1 to win the Super Bowl. They're probably not going to win the Super Bowl. But if you get into the tournament, you know as well as I do, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. If you get in the tournament, anything can happen. And I'll tell you what, if they do get in the playoffs, they have a huge advantage in Bill. Mm-hmm. They have a huge advantage in Bill. Mm-hmm. Bill is obviously, you know, I think he's the greatest coach of all time. Some people might not agree with that, but I do, and I think that he turns into a different animal whenever the postseason comes. I don't even think he leaves the building. You know, I'm 100% positive. I've went to the building for almost a week. I'm not gonna say 100%, but I'm really close to that positive. I went to the building for a week straight during the playoffs. Probably seen Bill change clothes once. You know what I'm saying? Listen, he takes this shit serious. You know, it's his life. Mm-hmm. It's been his life, his whole life. Mm-hmm. So whenever he get into the playoffs, do he think that they can go all the way and win it? Hell yeah, he does. He definitely does. I'm going to tell you he does. And he's going to do everything he can to make them think that and make them feel that. And whenever it's time to go, they're going to go for him.
I love this, LG. This has been great, man. Thank you so much. As always, you've given us a ton to think about. I hope the weather there, people who are listening to this aren't going to be able to see this, but people who watch this on YouTube are going to be able to see the weather there, wherever you are now, is much better than what it's looking like in New England at this point. What'd you say, about 70 degrees or so?
Yeah, about 70, 72, something like that. It's nice, man. It's super nice out here.
Oh, we're going to be lucky to break 35 today in New England.
35?
And we got snow on the way.
I cannot do that. I'm done with that, man. I only like the cold weather when we're playing a game. That's it. Because I know I was going to get a lot of touches.
Sounds good, my friend. Take care, and we'll talk soon.
I appreciate it, Chris, man. Always a pleasure, bro.